Wow, this plant has an amazing fragrance. And if you've been fortunate enough to spend any time traveling through or living in Southeast Asia, then you'll be really familiar with the plant that we have here for you today. This is the edible pandanus, Pandanus amarylifolius, and it's a beautiful plant and it has the most amazing scented leaves, so quite incredible. And indeed, if you've spent any time traveling through Southeast Asia, then you will be very familiar with this particular fragrance because it's probably been in a lot of those dishes that you've been enjoying, and this is one that you can now grow yourself. So it does prefer a tropical climate, so that doesn't mean that you can't grow it if you don't live in the tropics. You just need to adapt the environment that you're growing it in. So it works really well in a pot. You can see here behind me we've got quite a good selection of pandanus here, and they are growing in pots and doing quite beautifully. So they're this plant in a pot will provide you with ample leaves to satisfy all of your culinary needs, and you're going to want to keep this one close by so that you can be getting the most out of it and using it regularly. The more that you prune it, the more that you use these leaves, then the bushier and smaller that the plant will remain. So you'll be able to keep it quite compact, well within that 1 to 2 meters, which is probably a nice height for you to manage. So being a tropical plant, it does like humidity, so it's a plant to grow with friends if you can. And you can see here that we've got quite a selection of pandanus, and they are all growing quite close together, and it is also in the biodome, so it is a naturally humid space. And if you are trying to grow this one at home and you don't live in the tropics where the humidity is just a part of life, then you can do some things to increase the humidity by growing it amongst other plants, so grouping it together and spraying the leaves with a mister to keep those leaves nice and moist. So as it's a tropical plant, it does like the water during the wet season. So during spring and summer, then it's going to love irrigation. So make sure you keep the soil moist with this one during those times of the year. And during winter, when it's a little bit cooler, you're going to want to pull back on that watering to keep it happy, and the growth will be much slower during those times of the year as well. So we have a couple of different sizes of pandanus available here at the nursery, and I've got them here to show you now. So we've got a smaller size, and this is a perfect starter size pandanus. So you grab this one and then pot it up into a slightly larger pot to get it off to a good start. And with something like this, you would want to just step it up gradually. You wouldn't want to jump something like this into a much larger pot, because that could lead to rotting of the plant, and you don't want that. So whenever you're potting up your indoor plants, you want to gradually step them up. So something like this plant here, it's got quite a sizable plant and it has a good root system. I can feel that it's ready to go to the next size. That if you were to receive a pot like this, then you might want to think about just jumping it into the next size up, and then so on and so on. And then once you get it to the size pot that you're happy to keep it at, then just keep pruning it, and you'll be able to keep it in that pot and looking fabulous. So to use this plant, fresh leaves are going to be best, and you get the most flavor and fragrance out of them when you crush them. So make sure that you use your fresh leaves, and you can also freeze the leaves as well. So if you want to share them with friends or take them somewhere, or just always have a supply on hand, then you can freeze them as well. So it's quite an adaptable plant. For the kitchen, you can use them dried too, but the best fragrance is probably going to come from a fresh plant, and you can have fresh leaves when you grow your own edible pandanus, and it's super easy to grow. Just keep it in a warm, sheltered spot. It does like light, so part shade is perfect. Morning sun is excellent, and protect it from the wind and the direct sun, and it will be super happy and grow beautifully. So humidity, protected spot, free draining soil, it's going to be doing a fabulous job of growing. As well as humidity and a protected spot, probably one of the most important things to remember with the pandanus is, as it's a tropical plant, it is really going to want to be in a warm spot. So if you do live in one of those areas that the temperature does come down during winter, and you are keeping this in a pot outside in a protected area during the summer, during winter you will want to bring it inside to keep it protected and keep it warm, because the temperature for the pandanus really should remain well over 5 degrees and even over 10 degrees if possible during the winter. So keep it away from the windows, which could bring in the cold air during the night. Just keep it in a humid, warmish spot in the house during those colder months if you do live in those cooler areas. If you're in a subtropical or tropical area, then it's probably going to be okay, but just keep in mind, if a cool night is coming through, keep an eye on your pandanus baby, and you want to protect it, and you want to make sure that it's in the best position it can be, and warmth is something that it is really going to respond to, and keep it a happy, healthy plant for many years to come. Smell it. It's quite a fragrant smell. You could be walking past these plants and you will easily pick up on the smell. It has quite a strong smell. It's quite sweet and nutty. It's not offensive. It's definitely an interesting, unique smell. So if you're looking to add something interesting and unique to your dishes, then this is a perfect plant to try and use and just go crazy. Just try it out. So this is the edible pandanus. Easy to grow, especially if you give it the right conditions, and super versatile and handy in the kitchen as well. So grab one and let us know how you like to use your edible pandanus, and share the love and educate everybody so that we can all get into the kitchen and create as many amazing things as possible.